Okay. That being said here, you can go ahead and fill in the blanks of what we have. We're looking at causes of World War I today as far as the global initiative, not necessarily just Americans as a whole. The rise of nationalism. Nationalism means what?
Pride in your country.
Pride in your country. Now, typically speaking, you can compare and contrast nationalism to patriotism. The easiest way to distinguish the two is the letter that it starts with. Patriotism is typically positive. Nationalism can become negative. Okay? That being said, we have multiple different ethnic groups that are ruled by foreign governments. Okay? An autocratic monarch, which means what?
He is a king.
What kind of king, though?
He can rule over the church.
If you're an autocrat, what type of leader are you?
A rich, wealthy one?
Rich, wealthy, but all-powerful. Okay, so make sure you have an understanding that this type of monarch working with different ethnic groups, all of which are seeking self-determination, doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Everyone in the room is a separate country. I am your autocratic leader. You do what I say. All of you want to control the room. Eventually, that spark will ignite. Okay, the growth of imperialism. Now, the two major areas we're looking at with imperialism, the scramble for Africa. So Africa is one. What is your second? We just covered this. China or Asia, the Orient. Very good. Okay, so we'll have Asia down here. Make sure you have that. Now, and that's our open door policy. That being said, no permanent international organization to settle disputes, so it's kind of just an at-your-own situation. Okay? Two nations enter conflict with one another. Whatever more powerful nation will eventually rise to fruition as the most powerful. Formation of secret military alliances. Distrust. Okay? We're all seeking foreign territory. We are all seeking power. Okay? Antagonistic alliances. What does that mean?
Antagonizing meaning like bad guys.
Bad guys or inhospitable. Something that is eventually just going to just dissolve and it go really wrong really fast. Okay? In our conflict that we're about to enter, here are our two most important. Make sure you underline, highlight, get these down. Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente. Alliance, also known as the Central Powers, Germany, Austria, Hungary. Okay? Eventually, who else is going to join them?
Join who?
Eventually, we'll join the Triple Alliance with Germany and Austria,
Italy.
Hungary.
Oh,
Not in this one. Not Italy yet.
Japan?
No.
Not yet.
Middle Eastern Kingdom.
The Turks?
The Ottoman Turks, the Ottoman Empire. Very good. Write that down.
Oh, well, it's on
Okay.
there. In the Ottoman Empire. It's
Oh, perfect. Good. Triple Entente, also known as the Allies comprising of Great Britain, France, and Russia. Why are we not up here?
Because we're not in war yet.
We are not at war with them yet. Okay. Eventually, the United States and Italy. Okay. Make sure you get those down. Increased militarism. What does militarism mean?
Building up your forces.
Building of your forces, specifically what? So if we're going to go through the process of militarism in the United States, what all should we do here?
Fund our military.
To do what?
Go to war.
What all is involved with our military, though? What do we need to have an army?
Supplies,
Trained soldiers. Supplies such as
like guns, food.
guns, munitions. Why food?
Because, well, when they go over to other countries, they kind of need the food because sometimes it couldn't be like healthy for them, or it just would be.
Yeah. All facets of war. Make sure you understand this. We're not looking at just weapons. We're talking not only soldiers, but trained. Okay? How many of you, say you're all trained soldiers, right now could just up and survive a few months in Siberia?
No.
Not many.
It's like in 300 when like all the other warriors come and he's like, Spartans, what is your profession?
Right, exactly.
And they're all saying like they're blacksmiths or like carpenters or whatever.
Exactly. You are a warrior, you are a soldier before any other profession is the mindset we're looking to achieve here. Stockpiling arms, increasing the size of armies, make sure you understand that. That is the ultimate goal, and that is what is happening. Okay, relations exacerbated between Britain and Germany. Those are our industrial nations in Europe, number 1 and number 2. Might want to write that down next to Britain and Germany. Number 1 and number 2 in power in Europe. Okay, France bitter about the Franco-Prussian War. What did they lose in the Franco-Prussian War? Anyone remember? Territory, specifically Alsace and Lorraine. So write that down. Alsace and Lorraine provinces to the Germans. Anytime you lose territory to another country, you want it back. And you want it back as quickly and as aggressively as you can maintain it. Okay? Ultimately, June 1914, while on a parade, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary, assassinated by Gavrilo Princip, Serbian nationalist. Okay? What territory are we looking at, geographically speaking, in Europe right here?
The southern part of Europe.
The southeastern part of Europe. Now, what is that area known as?
The Mediterranean.
No. There's a nickname for that area right now, in the time period we're looking at. Hopefully I say this, it'll ring a bell. The Balkan powder keg.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay? The Balkan powder keg. So the Balkans, make sure you get that in. Why is it known as the powder keg?
Was that something to do like
Gunpowder?
Yeah, like gunpowder. Why is it known as that?
like a reaction? Once that happened, like everything was like set off.
Exactly. Here's your spark right here.
One spark will blow it up.
Okay, just like in National Treasure, where the Secret Lives of Charlotte, and there's those mass things of black powder. One single spark's going to send the whole thing out. This was your spark. That was your powder keg. Okay, that's the easiest way to understand when we're looking at
And
this.
we go to war.
And then we go to wall. Now, one thing you all have to remember with this war specifically is what is known as the bigger brother theory. You want to write that down. The bigger brother theory. Can someone explain that?
Let's say like two kids get in a fight. Whoever has a bigger brother wins.
Right, because they will back them up.
Mm-hmm.
So here are two kids, Serbia, or the more conflicted Balkan nations, Austria-Hungary. Whoever brings in the bigger brother will be successful. Now, Serbia is going to ally themselves with Mother Russia. Why Russia?
Because they're bigger.
Because they're a powerhouse.
Lots of resources.
They are a powerhouse, but look at the cultures here.
Oh, to get another side of the war.
Kinda. They're all Slavs. Write that down. Between Serbia and Russia, they are of Slavic descent. Okay? Why do we so often go to support the United Kingdom? Because we are very culturally similar. All right? That whole WASP theory, white Anglo-Saxon Protestantism, many of you would fit that bill. Many of people in England and the United Kingdom also do. Okay? We shall progress. When the war broke out, Wilson, adamant about neutrality. That is the biggest thing to understand. We do not want to get involved. We do not. We have no interest over there other than this symbol right here. Bam! International trade. It's the same theory as far as the handling of all of South America and Central America. What are we essentially involved in that region for? Two things.
Resources.
Resources, so money. Resources and money.
Land away from everyone else.
Okay, not quite land. Defense.
Yeah.
Remember the Monroe Doctrine, Roosevelt Corollary. Our half the world, we are policing it. Protect U.S. interests. That's what we have going on, and we want to preserve that. We don't want to just go hopping straight into a global war right now. Central powers and allies' demands for war required that they interrupt expansive trade relationships. It's a context of war. For example, the Anaconda Plan in the U.S. Civil War. If you can, maybe you can't scale a full-on attack to another country, but if you can cripple their economy, you'll be far more successful in the long term of this war. Including the United States. British blockaded German hopes of weakening Central powers. Okay, if you're familiar with the geography of the Northern European area, if you just look back there on the map, the United Kingdom, an island nation, controlling regions of the North Sea. If you can shut down that area, you can start to suffocate the German economy. That's a goal. Okay? Objective 1 to do that. British then deemed many goods contraband, began seizing cargo ships with the Royal Navy. Is that illegal?
No.
Just think contextually here. Should they be doing that?
Well, no.
Should they? No. But in... Go ahead.
No, they shouldn't, but they can. There's no stop them.
Right. And again, you have to understand, this is an aggressing nation. All you're trying to do is weaken the army and the economy. Weak econ and army.
There's no
Okay.
rules when it comes to war.
Martial law. Essentially is how you are reacting with other nations right now. There are no rules currently in engaging economically with this region. Okay, German response declares all waters around Britain to be a war zone in early 1915. War zone. Anything that enters there is liable to be sunk. Okay, now this was an international announcement. The U.S. received this. So we know if we enter hostile waters, it's at your own risk. Okay? German U-boats, what are those?
Submarines.
Submarines. What is a U-boat's formal title? Anyone know?
I always
Some
wanted to
crazy
see
German
birds.
word
U-boats.
starts with
Unterseeboot,
Oh yeah.
which literally means undersea. Unterseeboot, German U-boats. We attack you without warning. Okay? Moving forward.
You die.
You will die, Americans. German admiral stated that civilian lives would not be lost. Okay? So, this is a humanistic component right here. Cruise ships, personnel transport, if it's just like us, standard non-military civilians, not going to be harmed. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case. Germans favored unrestricted submarine warfare, which means what?
There's no
Anything
There's
goes.
no
Just do
rules.
whatever they want.
Anything goes, unrestricted, it's unrestrained, it's free. Basically, shoot first, apologize later if needed.
Isn't that what ticked us off and made us want to join?
Yes,
Wait, next slide.
with that one.
There you go.
That is what got us involved down here. Now, President Wilson's smart. Okay? We're smart. These are just civilians. The Lusitania. It is just civilians. Killing over 1,000 passengers, 128 American lives lost. Again, it's kind of like the sinking of the Maine. It's that thing, that spark that needs to get our people thinking, wait a minute, that's now starting to claim American lives. Fun fact, though, in the cargo holds of the Lusitania, American munitions. Were the Germans wrong?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Were they wrong?
Well,
Yes.
they did say that they weren't gonna kill civilians.
And it's on a standard like cruise ship, personnel liner here. But we were giving munitions.
But did they know that?
They didn't know that because of unrestricted submarine warfare.
Well,
So wrong in that they never warned.
it's still a cruise ship. They weren't supposed
Still a
to-
cruise ship, but we're still violating our agreement here.
But
It's just
still.
something to consider. Were
But
they
still.
wrong? Absolutely. This is America.
Exactly.
Okay?
Nice.
Something to consider, though, as far as getting us involved. Okay. Prior to the war, U.S. experienced a recession. A recession is what?
Going down.
What is going down?
Economy.
Econ's going down for a slight to moderate period of time here. Not quite a depression, but certainly not just the downward slope of the economy.
We skipped an
Yeah,
entire
We'll come
slide.
back. We'll come back to it. Okay? We'll come back to it. Let me make sure. I have to re-edit all of this.
Oh wait, no.
Anyways. By 1915, the economy had rebounded in terms of production and business profits. Okay? Trade with the Allied nations quadrupled. Now you gotta understand, when you're at war, if you're not entirely involved, you can make a lot of money off this. Okay? If you be patient and you play your cards right, trading with possibly even both sides, American industry can quite make a great wealth of profit. J.P. Morgan, what do we know about him?
Oh, he was one of the powerful guys, like I don't know.
One of our early American industrialists and financiers.
Yeah.
Lots of money. Okay, not only himself, but other individuals, private people, extended over $3 billion in credit to these two nations, Britain and France. Okay? That's private industry. That is not the government. We are not necessarily aiding them economically. We are allowing our people to. Mr. Lillis is exceptionally wealthy, wants to write a check to the UK. Here, use this to purchase munitions, do what you got to do. That's brilliant. Most Americans supported Allied war efforts for non-economic reasons. So this is us being involved. No money. Okay, why do we care without money? Propaganda. Who are the Huns?
The Huns
I've heard of
were
those.
in the
Grueling people.
northern Asia. They attacked China. That's why they put up the wall, block them out.
We heard of the Magyars before? Maybe around the same time as the Huns.
Yeah.
Okay, they're this warring tribal society that has often appeared as almost inhuman and animistic, if you will. A lot of the propaganda that is hailing from Britain during this time period paints these Germans as almost like Godzilla with a helmet. Okay? This propaganda would feature not only a monster itself, but it would hold like a woman dressed in all white panicking to represent freedom and democracy. We want to make these people look as bad as we can. Now, if you consider intelligence levels in America at the time, looking at people attending post-secondary school, college, etc., this is going to be effective. Because you're going to view these people as just horrific and monstrous to the point at which we need to help out our brethren across the Atlantic. Okay, support for either Central Powers or the Allies depending on ethnicity. That should make sense. If you're of German descent, you may favor Centrals. Italians, Allied Powers. Now that'll change for World War II. Okay, Irish, Centrals, what?
They didn't like Great Britain.
They hate Great Britain, absolutely. So this is something that you guys need to take into context here. You would think, being attached to the remainder of the United Kingdom, that the Irish would support their allies across the channel.
Nope.
Not the case. Okay? The UK, England specifically, the Crown has taken so much from the Irish. If they can watch England burn in flames, they will support them. Okay? They will support that initiative from across on their island. Okay? Some supported the French because it helped during the American Revolution. Should make sense. Okay? We recognize history. That's why we study it. By 1917, especially in the West and Midwest, many opposed entering the war altogether. Okay? Why do we even need to be there? We don't have that example, even with the Lusitania. Okay? Some people view that as, all right, I know it's tragic, it's 128 American lives, but still, we're talking thousands of soldiers that could die overseas. Some people still felt that way after 9/11. Terrorist attack, why do we become involved? A lot of people died. Is it worth a full-scale war? That's what a lot of these pacifists are saying. Okay? Moving forward. 1916, Wilson threatened to cut off diplomatic relations.
Yeah.
Okay, just stay with me, we'll follow that.
This is the one that was
Good. Wonderful. Secretary of State William Jennings Bryan. We know him primarily as an individual who's supporting American neutrality for the most part. Okay? Resigned from his post. That's huge. Okay, now Colin Powell will do that with President Bush as well. Not favoring what is going on, not favoring the goals of the presidency, in which case they're looking to the future. His rhetoric would engage them in a global war. What does that mean, his rhetoric?
His successor.
What do you guys think?
Looks like
It's more of like an English literature term.
Rhetoric, like
Like, have you ever heard of like a rhetorical question?
Yeah.
question without an answer.
Correct. Basically, no matter what his actions and through which how he is speaking on the global spectrum,
Still gonna go.
we're still going to go to war. You can say what you want, but your actions and how you are engaging globally, we're going to end up at war. Because of you. Because of President Wilson. William Jennings Bryan says, I want nothing of this. I do not want to be associated with this. I'm out. Okay? When the French ship, the Sussex, make sure you can italicize, write that down because it's vote, torpedoed and destroyed, killing 2 more Americans, Wilson threatened to end diplomatic relations. Okay, that's a big one. Make sure you have it underlined. It's still only a threat. If you guys don't calm down over there with your U-boats, we will get involved. Okay? Still, though, the Germans are high and mighty on their horse. Okay, we're sorry. Fighting a 2-front war had keeping the United States out of the war a priority. We know World War I, World War II, that doesn't work for Germany. 2-front war, we have 2 examples of how they will fail at this. Okay? That being said, the Sussex Pledge goes through. For the better part of the word, Germany honors the statement all of 1916. We're sorry. Anything carrying non-combatants, so civilians, make sure you have that if you don't understand. Civilians, people non-associated with war, we will issue a warning. Once they back out, nothing bad will happen. Okay? This is something that I need you guys to write down on lined paper. This is going to be on your test. Okay? Hold on. This is how this works. The easiest way to remember this. Okay? Revolted Republicans voted no, making Wilson's European peace crumble miserably. That's World War I's impact in a single sentence. Now, all you have to do, once you have your revolted Republicans voted no, etc., which I will give you that on the test, You just have to associate the appropriate information.
So you give us.
I give you revolted Republicans all the way through miserably. Okay?
But we should write it all down anyway.
You should write it down the way you can study it.
Yeah.
Any questions about today's lesson? If you be patient, I'll stop Camtasia real quick. I'll put this back up. Yeah, everyone's being patient right now.
Right now.